Have you ever felt like the world is pressing down on you from every direction? School, family, friends, and the constant noise of your own thoughts? That was exactly how 17-year-old Alex Miller felt every single day. It was Monday morning, and Alex was already staring at a pile of textbooks, notes, and half-finished assignments sprawled across his desk. College applications loomed like invisible mountains on the horizon, while soccer practice, chores, and family expectations tugged at him from all sides. His room, usually a sanctuary, now felt like a trap. With walls closing in, the more he thought about everything he had to do. "Alex, breakfast is ready." His mother's voice drifted from the kitchen. It was calm and cheerful, but Alex couldn't hear it. His mind was racing through a mental checklist: math homework, English essay, soccer drills, volunteer hours. Did he even have enough time to breathe today? He shoved his notebook aside and stormed out of his room, needing air, needing space, needing anything that would stop the anxiety clawing at his chest. He wandered aimlessly to the small park behind his neighborhood, letting his legs carry him where they would. That's when he noticed someone sitting on the old wooden bench near the river, a man he had seen before but never approached. Mr. Lee. He was in his mid-40s, with a quiet, confident presence that seemed to contrast sharply with the chaos swirling in Alex's mind. Rumor had it he was a retired philosophy professor, and though he rarely talked to anyone, the few times he did, people remembered his words. Today, he was simply sitting, watching the river flow like it had been doing for centuries. "Hey, Alex," Mr. Lee greeted as Alex approached. His voice was calm, almost musical, like it had the power to slow time. "You look like a storm just passed through your head." Alex collapsed onto the bench beside him, his shoulders slumping. "Feels like it," he admitted. "Everything's just too much. School, soccer, my college apps. I can't handle it all." Mr. Lee nodded slowly, as though he had expected this. "Do you want to learn something that might help you find peace?" Alex hesitated, unsure if he even knew what peace felt like anymore. I guess. Yeah, maybe." "Good," Mr. Lee said, a small smile tugging at his lips. "Let me tell you a story." He leaned back, letting his gaze drift to the river. "Imagine a turtle, Alex. This turtle lived freely in a river, moving through the water and mud as it pleased. It had no fame, no accolades, no one to watch or praise it. It just lived. Then one day, it was taken from its river, placed in a palace, wrapped in silk, and revered by everyone. But it could no longer swim freely, no longer drag its tail through the mud. Tell me, what kind of life do you think was better?" Alex frowned, thinking carefully. "The first one, the turtle in the river?" "Exactly," Mr. Lee said, his eyes crinkling. "See, Alex, you can chase success, recognition, or praise all you want. But if your mind is trapped in constant stress and worry, are you truly living? Or are you just surviving in someone else's expectations?" Alex's eyes followed the river's flow, noticing the gentle ripples moving around rocks and fallen branches. The current didn't fight, it simply moved, finding the easiest, most natural path, calm, patient, alive. "You see that?" Mr. Lee continued. "This river doesn't worry about what's ahead or dwell on what's behind. It doesn't stress about obstacles, it flows with them. Life works in much the same way. Sometimes, the harder you try to control it, the more tension you create. Taoist philosophers call this Wu Wei, effortless action. It doesn't mean doing nothing, it means acting with awareness, letting intuition guide you instead of forcing outcomes." Alex blinked, unsure what to say. "So, I just let things happen?" Mr. Lee shook his head gently. "Not exactly. You act, you try, but you don't panic when things aren't perfect. You flow with what comes. Like this river, learning from mistakes without being trapped by them. Even the struggles you think are useless, they might be exactly what teaches you the most." Alex looked down at his hands, suddenly aware of how tightly he had been clenching them. For the first time in days, a tiny sliver of clarity broke through the fog of his stress. Maybe, just maybe, there was a different way to face the chaos of life. Mr. Lee gestured toward a crooked tree across the park. Its branches twisted unpredictably, its trunk gnarled and irregular. "See that tree? No carpenter would ever cut it for wood. Useless, right?" Alex shrugged. "Looks like it's just crooked." But look at it, Mr. Lee said softly. It gives shade, a place to sit, a place to hide when you need quiet. Its twisted branches make it unique. Life often works this way. What seems useless, what seems like a mistake, can be exactly what you need to grow. Even stress and failure can teach you something valuable, if you're willing to pay attention. Alex nodded slowly, letting the words settle. His heart felt lighter, not completely free of worry, but lighter nonetheless. For the first time, he saw the crooked tree, the flowing river, and even himself in a different way. Tomorrow, Mr. Lee said, standing and stretching, I'll show you something that will help you even more. It's about practice, intuition, and maybe even a little playfulness. Are you ready? Alex smiled faintly. Yeah, I think I am. The sun dipped lower, casting golden streaks across the river. For the first time in what felt like forever, Alex felt like the storm in his mind had paused, giving him a brief, peaceful moment of clarity. The next morning, Alex arrived at the park earlier than usual, curiosity bubbling inside him. The sky was painted in soft hues of pink and orange, and the river glistened as the first rays of sunlight touched the water. Mr. Lee was already there, standing near the crooked tree with a serene expression. Good morning, Alex, Mr. Lee said, his voice calm as the river. Ready for today? Alex nodded, shifting his backpack to his shoulder. Yeah, I think so. Excellent, Mr. Lee replied. I want to show you something a little different today. Follow me. They walked toward the nearby soccer field, where Coach Daniels was already running drills with the younger team. Alex recognized the coach's reputation for being strict, but also for having an almost magical ability to make complicated plays look effortless. Watch closely, Mr. Lee said, gesturing toward the field. See how Coach Daniels moves. He doesn't force the ball. He doesn't overthink every pass or kick. He trusts his instincts. That's Wu Wei, effortless action. Years of practice have aligned his mind, body, and intuition. He's fully present in the moment, flowing with what's happening. Alex's eyes followed Coach Daniels as he dribbled past two defenders, feinted left, then scored with a soft, precise kick. It looked easy, natural, almost like a dance. That's insane, Alex whispered. It looks like he's not even trying. Exactly, Mr. Lee said, and that's the point. Effortless action doesn't mean doing nothing. It means you stop overthinking, stop forcing, and trust yourself. You enter the flow. The more you practice observing, the more you learn to act without anxiety. Later, they returned to the crooked tree. Mr. Lee motioned for Alex to sit in the shade, letting the morning sun warm his face while a gentle breeze stirred the branches above. Close your eyes, Mr. Lee said softly. Just listen. The wind, the birds, the river, notice how it all moves, perfectly in harmony without stress. Your mind doesn't need to control everything. You can just observe and flow. Alex hesitated at first, but then inhaled slowly and exhaled, feeling tension leaving his shoulders. His thoughts, initially a chaotic swirl, began to settle. He focused on the distant sound of birds chirping, the rustle of leaves, the subtle gurgle of water over rocks. For the first time in weeks, he wasn't thinking about grades or soccer drills. He was simply present. After a few moments, Mr. Lee spoke again. Life often presents challenges that feel useless or frustrating. But like this crooked tree, they may hold hidden value. Even stress and mistakes can guide you if you allow yourself to see them differently. You're not failing, you're learning. You're growing. Alex opened his eyes and looked at the tree, noticing patterns in the twists and knots he hadn't seen before. It wasn't just crooked, it was resilient, alive, unique. Suddenly, the analogy clicked. Maybe his own mistakes weren't signs of weakness, but opportunities to discover strengths he hadn't realized. Can I try something? Alex asked hesitantly. Like, practicing this Wu Wei thing? Of course, Mr. Lee said, smiling. Let's start with something simple. Walk along the river. Don't think about where your feet are going. Don't plan your steps. Just let your body move with the path. Pay attention to what your body already knows how to do. Alex followed, feeling self-conscious at first, but gradually noticing how natural his movements became. Each step felt connected to the last, flowing without force. By the time they returned to the tree, his breathing was steady, his heart calm. You see, Mr. Lee said, It's not about achieving perfection. It's about letting go of tension, trusting yourself, and being present. Even if things don't go perfectly, your mind can remain peaceful. Later that afternoon, Alex shared what he was learning with Sarah. They sat under the shade of the crooked tree, a quiet spot away from the busyness of school and neighborhood noise. "I don't know if you'll understand," Alex admitted, "but I feel lighter. My thoughts aren't bouncing around as much. Even when I make mistakes in soccer or homework, it's not devastating." Sarah looked thoughtful. "It sounds like you're finally stopping the panic. Like you're seeing things differently." "Yeah," Alex said, smiling faintly. "It's hard to explain, but it's like noticing the flow of life instead of trying to force everything to fit my plan. Even stressful moments, even failures, they're just part of the path." Sarah grinned. "Well, whatever it is, it works. You're calmer, happier, even." As the day faded into evening, Alex returned home with a small sense of accomplishment. He knew life wasn't suddenly stress-free, but he felt equipped with a new perspective. The river, the crooked tree, and Mr. Lee's quiet wisdom had given him tools to navigate the chaos with less fear, more awareness, and a touch of patience. For the first time in a long while, Alex felt a spark of confidence, not the type measured by grades, trophies, or accolades, but the quiet, steady confidence that comes from knowing he could face challenges without losing himself to panic. And as he closed his eyes that night, he thought of the tree's twisted branches, the river's gentle flow, and the playful, calm smile of Mr. Lee. Perhaps, he realized, peace wasn't about controlling everything, it was about learning to move with life itself. A week had passed since Alex began observing the river, the crooked tree, and practicing Wu Wei with Mr. Lee. Life didn't magically become stress-free, homework still piled up, soccer drills still demanded energy, and college applications loomed large, but Alex felt a subtle shift inside himself. One afternoon, during a crucial soccer match, Alex found himself facing an unexpected challenge. The opposing team was aggressive, the score was tied, and the pressure to perform felt heavier than ever. Normally, his mind would have spiraled, calculating passes, predicting outcomes, worrying about mistakes. Today, however, he remembered Mr. Lee's words: observe, trust your instincts, move with the flow. He took a deep breath, letting his body guide him. As he moved across the field, the world seemed to slow. He passed, dodged, and finally scored without overthinking, without panic. His teammates cheered, but the true victory for Alex wasn't the goal. It was the calm he maintained in the midst of chaos. After the game, Alex walked home alone, replaying the moment in his head. The exhilaration was there, yes, but it was paired with something new, a quiet confidence that didn't depend on the result. For the first time, he felt mastery not as achievement, but as presence. That evening, Alex sat under the crooked tree again, notebook in hand, jotting reflections about the week. He wrote about mistakes that taught him patience, stress that taught him awareness, and failures that revealed hidden strengths. He realized that life's difficulties weren't enemies, they were teachers guiding him toward understanding, presence, and self-compassion. Suddenly, his phone buzzed. It was a message from Sarah. "Hey, you up for a walk by the river? I think you need a victory stroll." Alex laughed quietly and replied, "Be there in 5." They walked in comfortable silence along the riverbank. Alex noticed the birds flitting between the branches, the way the sunlight danced on the water's surface, and he felt a profound sense of connection to the world around him. It was as if every detail, however small, carried a lesson if he was willing to see it. Sarah glanced at him. "You seem different, lighter, somehow, happier, even." Alex smiled. "I've been learning to flow with life instead of against it. Even my mistakes and stress, they're not enemies. They help me understand myself and the world better. I feel calm." Sarah laughed softly. "Wow, that's deep, Alex." "It's Taoist philosophy," he said, smiling. "Mr. Lee is helping me see life differently. I used to think calm meant doing nothing, but it's more like moving with awareness, trusting yourself, and letting go of unnecessary pressure." As the sun began to set, Alex felt the warmth of it on his face, the gentle flow of the river beside him, and the twisted branches of the crooked tree above. It all seemed to whisper the same truth. Life was a river. and he could either fight it and exhaust himself or learn to move with it and find peace. That night, Alex reflected on the lessons he had learned. Stress and mistakes are teachers. Even setbacks have value if we learn to observe and reflect. Perspective is everything. Beauty, success, and failure are relative. Seeing life from multiple angles brings calm. Flow with life. Don't fight it. Effortless action, Wu Wei, helps us act with clarity and confidence. Impermanence is natural. Everything changes, and accepting it reduces fear and anxiety. Joy is found in simplicity, being present, noticing small details, and appreciating life as it is creates inner peace. Alex knew he still had challenges ahead, but now he faced them with a quiet resilience that no grade, loss, or expectation could shake. Calm was no longer a distant idea, it was a lived experience. And as he closed his notebook, he whispered to himself, even when life gets messy, I can flow. Even when I fail, I can learn. Even when I'm stressed, I can breathe. Like Alex, we all face stress, pressure, and moments that seem overwhelming. Taoist philosophy teaches us that calm isn't found by controlling every detail, but by flowing with life, observing without judgment, trusting our instincts, and appreciating the value of every experience, good, bad, or seemingly useless. By embracing impermanence, letting go of rigid expectations, and noticing the beauty in small moments, we can navigate life with clarity, resilience, and peace. Thank you for watching this story all the way through. If Alex's journey resonated with you, leave a comment sharing how you find calm in stressful moments. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you won't miss future stories that inspire and guide you toward a more peaceful life.